The left arm. Okay. I'll call to order the special council meeting for the corporation of Brunel, Lindach, and Raglan, the 16th day of September 2022 at approximately 12:11 p.m. Councilor Banks.
Yes.
Councilor Young.
Here.
Councilor Cutwell.
Here.
Councilor Rutledge.
Here.
All present and accounted for. We had a slight delay because of some technical issues. So the adoption of the agenda, that the council for the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindach, and Raglan adopt the agenda as amended to include 2 items for discussion and proposed regarding subsection B of the municipal act. I need a mover on that. Councilor Yon, seconder, Councilor Banks, all in favor?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is carried. Disclosure procurement interest from any of the councilors with the matter before us today.
None by me.
None.
Seeing none. So we have a number of items within our meeting today. Our first item for discussion is we have a RFP for winter sand. The council for the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindach, and Raglan accepts RFP Public Works 2022-4 and the amount of $74,730 plus HST from RGT Pluche Construction Limited for the supply and delivery of winter sand. I need a mover on that. Councilor Yon, a seconder, Councilor Banks. Okay, so right now I'm waiting for my staff report to come up. Okay, I have mine up. So unfortunately, Jordan had to leave, an emergency. I don't know if any of the other staff would like to try and address the report, or would you like me to?
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Yeah, so the facts and issues, so we require 5,300 tons of spring winter sand, meeting a certain standard, so OPSS 1004 specifications for application on roadways. The original agreement with where we used to purchase sand was expired. So basically that's why staff kind of looked at looking at different options. And so by putting it out to tender, we actually get a quality of product that would protect the municipality in the event of an accident. At the price, so we did some costing. So before, when we used to put up the sand by ourselves in the municipality, it worked out to be about $14.02 a ton. Put up sand in-house, so right now the current cost of the tender comes to $14.10 per ton, which works only up to 8 cents a ton more. So like I said before, the material will meet the minimum requirements, and it will help us in the eventuality of the claim, which will be very unfortunate. Any questions from council?
Yes.
Yes.
What are we gonna do with the sand that's out there?
So I believe Jordan had give us a bit of an explanation the last council meeting. He said that sand we would, and I think I know you're going with the question. It would be mixed together with new salt and then used on the road.
Says there's enough sand here.
Yeah.
More than enough to do the winter. And Quadville is very close if they take them to pile up to do the winter there too, and then get rid of it.
Okay, so I know Jordan's not here to comment on that. I would assume that the tender was made up to kind of address and top up the piles.
Well, it's gotta be more than top up with that amount, if that's what we're gonna use, and we're gonna mix it with our sand. We're gonna have an awful abundance of sand kicking around.
Right.
Like, I'd like to see what we got used up before we purchase any more. And I know that this doesn't meet the standard that we're looking for, but like there's an awful lot of sand out there in the 2 piles.
Right. So, and
Your worship, I believe they've done some calculations to find out if we had enough to do the winter 2 yards, and they don't believe they do. The plan is to move the sand from 1 yard to this yard, so you're starting fresh at the 12 yard. We'll be adding to this one to make it suitable for the roads, and then we'll be cleaning this pile up, and then following years we'll have good sand at both locations, starting fresh.
Well, I don't believe that's gonna work, because you're gonna have too much sand in one place. Because there's just too much sand out there, you look at those piles.
The calculations that they've done, that's all I can answer for, I can't explain it any more than that.
Because I know previously when I worked on roads, we used to put up 100 loads of each pile, they've been putting up much more than that. And the 100 loads got us through before, so the piles have been growing, the surface has been growing. So I don't know. I agree with this, with
Yes.
us making a switch, but
Yeah.
I just want to ensure that this sands get used up and get out of there. And all our piles are doing is just seem to be growing.
I believe that is the intention in the long run, to make sure that we're not going to be adding our old sand to the new sand, we don't want to deteriorate.
Yes, I recall
you
Jordan
just
saying
said-
that we're moving one pile to,
Mhm.
yeah, and use this pile.
Yes.
So it's,
So that's a little bit contradictory, because you said they were gonna mix some.
Well,
They're
no,
going to-
they said they were going to move and mix salt with it.
Yeah, but the only thing about that is, if it's not up to code, that sand, we're gonna have one pile that's too code in Watville, this one isn't. Because, sorry,
I believe Jordan mentioned something about adding to this existing old sand to increase its
oh, okay,
performance.
okay.
I wonder if Downer would be available for questions, because I know him and Jordan were talking about this morning. I think they've changed the plan of moving the sand from Quadville to here, because then you would have to rent a stacker
Yeah.
here as well. So I think the plan is to use the tendered amount and divide it between the two garages.
Okay.
And mix what's
Yeah.
in each pile with the new sand.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
I believe that's what was discussed this morning.
and I think last year we didn't have as bad a winter, we didn't use as
No.
much sand. So if we had a really bad winter this year, that sand would disappear very quickly.
yeah.
Well, I gotta disagree with global warming, it's gonna get warmer, so we're gonna use that.
Which means there's gonna be more ice. Yes,
That's very possible.
so we have to be prepared if we have a really bad winter.
Okay, so any more questions of the recommendation? I guess
So,
my thought is, if council wishes, I know Jordan had to leave on an emergency, but he can bring us a little more information to the next council meeting. And tell us how, if we move forward with the resolution, then he can just report at the next council meeting what we plan on doing. And at that time, you can answer any questions. Does that suffice, John?
Well, it does, but the problem that I've got, if you're putting up a total amount of this new sand,
Yeah.
which is the amount here, you
Yeah.
got those two piles out there now,
Yeah.
you're not reducing it.
No.
So, like, something has to be cut if you wanna get rid of this sand, these sand piles.
We have a tender that's before us, and it will be voted on as part of the resolution.
Well, I don't agree with it.
And that's your choice
That's
to, yes, to agree or not. Yes. Councilor Dunn.
so then what I understand is Fuji's are gonna have to find sand somewhere that's gonna meet the spec. We're not purchasing sand from anybody then, so they're gonna,
Yes, it's up then to find the source that,
And they have to provide the testings.
yes.
yes. Okay, any other questions?
Well, how many tons do we usually put up? You know,
Yeah.
That'd be a question for Jordan.
well, yeah, I mean, if we don't need 5,300 tons. Like, let's say last year we did put up 5,300 tons this way, but we only used half of each pile. If we used half. Did we put up more than that, you know? Yeah, okay.
I believe the tonnage last year was about 5,700.
And that's a guess, because we don't weigh it.
Well, they would probably know how many truckloads, and how much is in each truckload.
Well, you basically have the egg, you put it up in the winter when the ground is wet, so you're having your loads, and
That's right.
you put it up in the summer.
But times are crunchier too, guys.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Not
this is
exactly,
a tender.
and that's the thing, the tenure at this point in time cannot be changed to lessen the amount. This is the tender we've been presented
Yeah.
with. This is the RFP we have, this is the resolution. for
And you
council
only
to
got
decide.
one tender.
And I think this was the recommendation from
This was a
our,
recommendation from staff.
our manager, so.
Yeah.
We really don't have,
No way around it.
At this point,
No.
it's either accepted or not by council. So,
I guess.
any other questions?
No.
Then I'll call for the vote, all in favor?
Yes.
yes,
No. Yes, and it's carried. Really don't, John.
Comment?
Is it on the issue we just discussed?
No, this is about future tendering, before large amounts are tendered out,
Yep.
it should be discussed. With council.
Right. Item 4.2. Approving COVID expenditure. This is a resolution. The resolution says the council for the corporation of Township of Rubel, Dr. Ragland directs the clerk treasurer to use $69,522 from COVID-19 funds to cover partial payment of the washroom change room project. And further directs the clerk treasurer to use $30,473.06 modernization funding to cover the balance. So we have a staff report with that. So it was prepared by Jordan and approved by Virginia. Virginia, would you like to speak to the details of this report?
So, Mayor, council had previously approved the expenditures through COVID and modernization funding just at different, numbers. So, right now, we haven't had any other projects to use this year for the COVID expenditure, so we still have the balance of $69,522 in the COVID account. And council had approved using 55,000 of that to cover a portion of the washrooms and change rooms. So what we're proposing is that we increase that amount to the $69,522 to use the remaining COVID funding, and then the balance of that would be used for the modernization, which would leave more in the modernization funding for other projects.
Yes. It makes sense. Yeah. Any questions in council? I think it makes sense. It closes up the COVID account and moves a little more money balance to modernization. We can use for other things. So, well, can I ask them a little bit more? No. Excellent. So, yeah, I move to Councilor Young, seconder. Councilor Capel. And we already had discussion.
those are original plans, to fund that from COVID
Yes.
and the balance from the modernization.
It's just changing.
So how much is left in that modernization plan? For funding,
I don't have an exact total today.
so about approximately, I mean, like 30,000, 40,000 approximately?
I would say that Virginia can give us a,
Yeah,
I was just wondering, like, just a ballpark, that's all.
I know there's a, I want to say about 150,
Oh,
That's what I was going to
but
say.
some of that is.
You're marked for something else?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then. Any other questions on the COVID expenditure? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Yes,
Yes.
And that is carried. Our other item 4.3, we have a letter to council from Tammy Bulshaw, and it's a proposal for animal control shelter services. I will ask probably Tammy to review this report with council.
Right, so the other day we had a good Samaritan in our township pick up the dogs. And obviously we do not have any animal control nor shelter facilities. Graciously drove the dog all the way up to the OSPCA in Pembroke, Wawa. And they declined some service because we're not a part of quite adept. He also spoke to Bonnecher Valley, and that's where he got in touch with Amy Beauchamp, who then proceeded to call us and explain the situation that's going on in Bonnecher Valley right now. So in the letter here, you can see her description of what's going on, where she's debating, in the process of working with Bonnecher Valley to take over the shelter portion, leasing the building from them and maintaining it privately. She's offering services to the municipality, either for just shelter services or animal control and shelter services. I'm just waiting for council's direction. If this is something that you would like to investigate more. She is looking for interest or confirmation of taking part in her thing. She needs so many townships to take part in order to run this program.
There was an article in Eagan Believer too, concerning this.
Yeah, the council's looking at it again to keep it up and going.
Must be quite an expense for them to be, like, for that municipality thinking of closing it.
This is the first time I've heard of us having a problem with that, isn't it? Have we taken any other dogs?
This one gentleman, he picked up the dog on his own and was trying to do the right thing. Kudos to him. We do get a fair number, I can't give you the exact number, of people calling, complaining about dogs.
Yeah.
And we don't have anyone on tap to address that situation for us.
And maybe it's time we should.
It would be to our benefit to have one close. I think it would be interesting to see if the municipality is going to continue with the shelter and we made an agreement with the municipality rather than go to private. That would be my way of thinking. I mean, it makes more sense to be able to have a facility in Eatonville rather than drive to Petawawa.
The Petawawa, did they charge you a holding fee for the dogs?
Yes,
Well, I would think so, I imagine everybody, because they have to pay for the food and everything else.
plus you're gonna be paying time and mileage for
Yeah.
someone to go that far.
Yeah, it's an hour and 15 minutes from my place to Petawawa.
So does Bonnecher still have like a dog tag fee?
Yes,
And see, our municipality don't have that. So
Because
they're
we don't.
generating some money, they're getting money in
yeah,
to cover some of that cost, and we don't have that.
Is that something like?
we
council-
used to,
We used to at one
It's
time,
been
yeah.
years though. It's
Yeah.
been.
Oh, yeah.
And
because there was no enforcement.
he figured some way to force that.
We're in the process of getting about.
But I don't know,
And I think without a bylaw enforcement officer,
there's no point
Yeah, there's
now,
no point.
because that was the big complaint. People paid the license fee, but yet if there was a problem, there was no one to address it.
I wonder if this is like a standard agreement that they would have with other municipalities, or other municipalities have a different options. Like
From
as
what I
far
understand,
as,
this is what she's offering everybody, of course,
Yeah.
that's gonna change for her travel,
like,
But I think first the municipality is gonna have to decide whether they're going to let it go. I mean, we can't be making an agreement with a private person to use that shelter. It's still the municipalities. So I think we need to look at it closer to find out who is in fact going to be operating it.
that's kind of,
And then we can,
I think that's where I'm kind of going too. I think that I feel that I'm short of a little bit of information.
yes,
But I don't know exactly what I'm looking for.
yeah. I think we need to get more clarity on it.
so if you pick up a dog, let's just say, for example, if you
Yeah.
pick up a dog and it's not tagged, so you don't know if that dog is even from your municipality,
Yeah,
And it says right there, if the dog needs medical attention, that bill is billed to the DLR.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
didn't like.
Yeah.
But that's standard practice.
Oh, is that right?
Well, somebody has.
And also, I know from other municipalities, if there was an animal picked up and it had no tags, you didn't know where it came from, it was held so many days and then it was euthanized.
Yeah.
And the municipality was billed that fee also.
That's expensive too.
What
No, I'm
do
just
you-
saying, that's expensive too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Well, maybe we should be looking at bringing back dog tags and looking at one of these options. That
well,
way,
if you're bringing back dog tags, then you should have a bylaw enforcement officer.
well, we will.
Yeah, it's just like. There's nobody
Yeah,
to
I
enforce it.
think at this point in time, we're almost putting one before the other.
Putting
Yeah.
the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
We're not ready for that yet, but I
No.
think we should get clarity on this to see just like who is going to be operating it.
Yeah.
Because I know there was a big, the public did petitions and made a presentation to council, in Wilshire Valley they wanted the pound kept by the municipality, so I think they're looking at it again.
See what it's up there, but then we'll
Yeah.
start at the beginning
Well,
for us,
yeah.
and work in the right direction.
I think so. So I guess, yeah.
I'm not totally against that.
Me
No,
neither.
neither am I, no.
Because I have 2 dogs, I love my dogs, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if one was to get lost,
Yeah.
or, I mean,
Yeah,
be
Yeah,
perfect,
especially
you know,
during
I
hunting
could go pick
season.
it up somewhere, yes.
you know,
yeah, it's a good thing to have, because you can phone them and find out, you know, do you have such and such a dog
That's
there? And if you have a tag on and the number and.
because I think we only charge, was it $2 a tag or something like that?
That's not very liable.
It's
Yeah.
been a long time ago.
That's what I mean, because like I said, it's $2.
Yeah, at least that process can help offset the cost.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
That's, yeah. So,
But
yeah,
But this time, my reply to this workshop would be, not at this time.
but we're researching.
Just say we need to get more
Research,
information.
Yeah, I think so, to research the options.
It's still premature for us to make an agreement. Also, because we'd have to talk to our person and get their opinion on it.
Yes. So that is, the open part, we're meeting right now, we have to be closed, leave the council for corporation township rural and Larry Ragland, went to closed session pursuant to municipal act 2001, section 2392. For purposes of subsection B, personal matters of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, B, labor relations or employee negotiations, and F, advice and subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communication necessary for that purpose. So any mover on that, Councilor Banks, second, Councilor Rutledge, all in favor.
yes,
And that is carried.